Hey folks, Kilt-Man here, Kilt-Man at your services. How are you all? I hope you're all doing very, very well. Now, after my big, massive, in-depth review of Evil Dead Rise, a film which I still quite strongly admire, really enjoyed it, had a great time with it. It's everything I kind of expected from this movie. An Evil Dead movie that hasn't got Ash in it. So the whole comedic angle is kind of thrown out, a la the 2013 reboot. But I had a great time with it anyway. Now, I did say that there's loads of Easter eggs in this and little sort of callbacks to the previous movies. And now you're getting everyone else is coming out the woodwork and going, oh, here's all the Easter eggs, the things, and I hate this. They do their little thumbnail, the things you didn't see. Oh, that's insulting, that is. I think that's really badly insulting. Although in this case, there's a few things that I genuinely didn't see. And I had to be told by other people. Now, there's a load of stuff that's in this. And let's just make the distinction between sort of Easter eggs, callbacks, and cameos. A cameo is someone or something appearing just for a fleeting second in maybe different kind of guise, but it's good. Oh, they brought him back. Oh, that was good, wasn't it? A callback is showing you things like the tropes that are in this franchise already. Things like quotes, swallow your soul, or dead by dawn, or come get some. You know, those lines, they're not Easter eggs. They are callbacks to the previous movies. And other elements, they're callbacks. That's not the same thing. An Easter egg is a little subtle thing. Or in a couple of cases, they weren't that subtle, but I still didn't notice them. But an Easter egg is just a little thing thrown in there, which, if you spot it, you go, see what you did there. And they can be disguised, they can be hidden, they can be submerged, or they can be genuinely overt. But dickheads like this one here, who's scrutinising the frame to try and find little elements. Oh yeah, and I prides himself on getting them all. I missed a really big one. Anyway, folks, here we go. Now, little list here that I've compiled. And we're playing Stephen McKean's soundtrack for Evil Dead Rise, which incidentally is getting a bit of a backlash that I've seen. People are not liking this score. I know that the score for the original movie is Joseph DeLuca, Evil Dead 1, Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness, and the main Evil Dead March by Danny Elfman are electrifyingly good, and I really did enjoy them. But Roque Banos did an alarmingly effective score for the 2013 movie, which, as I said before, initially I didn't like that movie at all, but I've grown to not only accept it and appreciate it, but to really, really like it, almost love it on its own terms. But the score was something I noticed right away. Roque Banos' score, using that alarming, well, it's an alarm, it's a siren, it's almost like he was staying, I think, in Barcelona when he recorded or composed the music for it, and he was kept awake throughout the night by these incessant wailing sirens, and he said, well, that's really unnerving and jarring, I might bring that into the score, and he did, to tremendous effect. So I love that score for the 2013 reboot by Fede Alvarez. And this, by Stephen McKean, is very similar, although there's no distinctive theme or melody or rhythm. It is cacophony. It's a lot of slow build-up, and then, you know, raucous stingers and anvil clashes and brassy intrusions, and it is set to make your nerves jangle. And it does. It's a great experience when listening through your earphones. It is. You're playing it through your speakers, you turn it up loud. You'll find that other people in your residence don't like you for very long, and they command you, they compel you to turn it down or off. But it's a very effective score just the same, so I do like it. So I applaud it, even though a lot of other film score aficionados, I just go, it's just generic shite. Well, you know, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. For me, it works, so I'm happy with it. Right, so the Easter eggs. The things you didn't see. Although I bet you did, you know. Right, so we're not going to go on about the I swallow your soul, or the death by dawn, or the come get some. We're not going to talk about those. But there's a lot of things that are in here. And I remember saying that I spent an inordinate amount of time really ruminating on the name Fonda. This all takes place in the apartment block, as you know. Not a cabin in the woods, although there is a cabin in the woods for the bookending sequences. And that's not an Easter egg, by the way, because some people are listing it. Oh, and there is a cabin in the woods as well. It's not a fucking Easter egg. It's quite overt. It's part of the bloody story of the film. You know, it's a callback. That's all it is. But I saw this name, Fonda's, and that's the name of a neighbour from the main protagonist of the movie, Mr. Fonda, who's like he's got a big truck. He's a handyman, an engineer, a mechanic, or whatever. And his van's downstairs in the underground car park, and it's got Fonda's written all over it. And I knew, and I said in my big review, I think I'd just seen the movie, and I was like, oh my God, that was driving me mad. It's so emblazoned everywhere, and he's Mr. Fonda. And I go, Peter Fonda, Jane Fonda. And I missed out, the most obvious one, of course. Why is it there? It's a little Easter egg to support and remember Bridget Fonda. Bridget Fonda, of course, loved Evil Dead 1 and 2 and asked Sam Raimi, could she be in Army of Darkness? And Sam was like, oh shit, well we've already cast Sheila, you know, the princess. You know, I may be bad, but I look good. You know, they've already cast her. So Raimi went, well, okay. And this is a film that's got notoriously 4 different bloody versions of it. And he said, okay, well, tell you what, we'll bring you back for like a little prologue, brief prologue recap of Ash and his girlfriend Linda going to the cabin, which sets the whole thing in motion. You can play Linda, making 3 different actresses playing Linda throughout the franchise so far. And so that's Bridget Fonda. And it doesn't stop there, because one of the main characters in this, you've got a mother and 3 kids, a lad and 2 daughters. And the eldest daughter is Bridget, shortened to Bridge. Bridget Fonda again. Dear Lord, you know. And I was sitting there in the flicks going, that means something. And in so doing, I missed one of the most overt Easter eggs. The pizza boxes. Yes, the pizzas. When there's an earthquake, the kids have come back, they've took mum's car, and they've come back into the underground car park. They've got all the pizzas there. Earthquake hits. Big freezer in the ground. Ditch the pizzas, get safety somewhere. But you see the pizza lids, the pizza box lids, and it's Henrietta's Pizzas. I'm still busy looking at Fonda's written inside that fucking van. Truck, wood chipper, I don't know, rig. To notice Henrietta's Pizzas. Henrietta Noby from the cabin in the woods. It's Professor Noby in Evil Dead 2 who's discovered the incantations and the Book of the Dead, the Necronomicon. And Henrietta has become host to a Kandarian demon. And she's in the fruit cellar, of course. And she's played in that big sweaty sack of prosthetic bodysuit by Sam Raimi's brother, Ted Raimi, of course. That's Henrietta. Oh shit. And I was like, oh, I don't believe that. And it was our good friend Astrodine, massive channel contributor, who said to me this morning, I think it was, I was like, oh my God, yeah, of course. What the hell? What the absolute hell? Now, the Bridget Fonda thing, the name and the whole Fonda Easter egg was brought to light by another channel subscriber, and I do apologise. I should have written your name down. Damn it, I didn't do it. I do apologise, but you know who you are, because I got back to you and said, yes, you've nailed it. What great detective work. Brilliant, brilliant job. Well done, sir. Bravo. Because I did not get it at all. And I love this. I love the fact that I'm supposed to be this guy that I know these films inside out. I know everything about them. I know all the minutiae and the trivia. I do, in most cases. But it's nice to be thrown a curveball once in a while and to be rescued by somebody else. So, we've covered the Fondas and we've covered the Henriettas. Oh, and now we're going to cover the Whiskies and the liver damage. Cheers, guys. Cheers to all you eagle-eyed Easter egg spotters out there. Now, there's other name stuff as well. There's a brother. There's two daughters and a brother, and there's two sisters. The big sister who gets possessed, and the sister who's the hero of the piece. And there's a lad called Danny, and he's the idiot that goes down into the Fisia after the earthquake and finds the Necronomicon, the Book of the Dead, and all these phonograph records, which will come into these Easter eggs as well. These phonograph records, which will, when played, will recite the incantation, and he's got the book there, and he's spilt blood on it already, which will cause havoc. It just unleashes the gates of Deadite party, you know, and so all hell will break loose. But you've got, his name's Danny, which is a throwback, and it is. It's not just like, oh, coincidence. His name's Danny, which is a throwback to Danny Hicks, who plays Jake in Evil Dead 2. Jake, the redneck, you know, Bobby Joe! That's such a great character as well. I love him to bits. So that's a throwback to Danny Hicks there. But he plays, in Evil Dead 2, he plays a guy called Jake. Now, in this film, you've got a bunch of neighbours who you meet. Mr. Fonda being one of them, who owns the big thing down the car park. But there's two lads. One's only a young scrote, and one's like his teenager. But he clearly fancies Bridget Fonda. Clearly fancies her, and they come knocking at the door. And his name in this is, hang on, let's get this right. He's Jake. He's called Jake, as in Jake the redneck. And his mate, or his brother, I presume it is the younger sibling, is called Scott. Scott as in Scotty from Evil Dead 1. Scotty! I know. There's a way, Ash. There's a trail. But the trees, Ash, they know. Don't you see? They're alive. Scotty from the first Evil Dead, which is a nice callback there. I like that. Well, I've just... Callback Easter egg. It's okay. The line gets blurred there. Let's just say that about it. But that's good. And another big Easter egg here. Those two invite Bridget to come and watch a Nightmare on Elm Street marathon in their apartment, which she declines. And Nightmare on Elm Street is a Kilt-Man. Yes, you guys all know the ongoing little visual cinematic banter repartee between Sam Raimi and Wes Craven, who did Nightmare on Elm Street. In Wes Craven's Hills of Eyes, he has a poster of Jaws in the camper van, which gets assailed by the cannibal clan, and the most despicable things happen in there. And during the onslaught, that Jaws poster is seen ripped in half. And Wes Craven said, well, everyone thought Jaws was real horror. Well, this is what I think. My film, The Hills of Eyes, is real horror. So I'm gonna depict it visually by ripping in half the Jaws poster. There you go. That's what I think of Jaws. That's nothing. That's kid stuff. This is real. Sam Raimi saw that. So of course, completely arbitrarily, in the cellar of the cabin in the woods in the first Evil Dead, then you go down there. There is a poster of The Hills of Eyes ripped in half. And this began a tit-for-tat sort of thing. So you'd have Johnny Depp in Nightmare on Elm Street yawning his head off whilst watching a really hyper stylized sound design and edited together mix of The Evil Dead on TV. And he just yawns and turns it off. Oh God, yeah. And just bored. And it's The Evil Dead, the ultimate experience in grueling terror, you know. And this carried on. So you'd have like Freddy Krueger's glove would be in the cabin in Evil Dead 2. And just other little callbacks all the time. It's all playful. So in this, you actually have these kids asking Bridget, do you want to come and watch a Nightmare on Elm Street marathon with us? And she's like, nah, can't be asked, not doing that. And she looks through the spy hole again, and the younger one's gone off, like, but the bigger lad, Jake, he's kind of like, what's he? No, he's Jake. Let's get this right. And he's like, you see him, he's going, because clearly he fancies the arse off her, even though she looks just like Harry Potter in a Harry Potter circa Goblet of Fire, I think it was, or Prisoner of Azkaban. One of them. When he's slightly older, but take the glasses off him. But that hair that she has, especially when she gets possessed in this movie, she's a dead ringer for Harry Potter. And I meant to mention this in the big review, the big spoiler-filled review, and I'm sure I was going off on that track, and then I took myself on a detour and forgot to come back to it. At least I don't think I ever came back to it. But she looks just like Harry Potter, like Daniel Radcliffe, and I found that when she's possessed with the hairdo and all that became quite distracting. I was like, it's Harry Potter eating glass. Oh, I'm not going to eat this glass. I'm just going to slurp some stuff out of it. Cheers, y'all. So, where was I with that? Yeah, she refuses to watch that. But you've also got, there's a bath sequence, and Beth, who is the heroine of the piece, the little girl doesn't want to get into the younger daughter, Cassie, Nell Fisher, who's outstanding in this movie. She's brilliant little actor, and wow, she gets put through the ringer, and it's very affecting, to be honest. She thinks monsters might be lurking in the deep water of the bath, so her auntie, who's the hero of the piece, puts her fingers in like that into the bath, and you see her hand going in, which is very reminiscent, of course, of Nancy Heather Langenkamp in Nightmare on Elm Street in the bath, and Freddy's claws come between her legs. And also you have the other sister, Ellie, who would be Alison Sutherland, or Alyssa Sutherland, who is extremely good as well as a possessed bitch from Deadite hell. They put her in the bath to cool her down when she's possessed, and she's seemingly come back from the dead, and they throw her into this bath, and she writhes and contorts, and that is reminiscent, of course, of Heather Langenkamp fighting Freddy in her bath when he has dragged her down, and the bath becomes a sort of underwater portal to, nightmarish realms. So yeah, there's a definite Wes Craven Nightmare on Elm Street cameo appearance there. What else have we got? Oh yeah, I mean the Oldsmobile Delta 88, which is Sam Raimi's car, which you see in every Evil Dead outing. The movies, the TV show, and the 2013 reboot. It's always there, it's Ash's car, but it's not in this movie at all. That in itself could be like, oh, that's a subversive Easter egg in its own right. It should be there, but it's actually not. Well, it kind of is in a way, because the chainsaw, which is used at great effect during the big final boss fight with the Marauder, as it's called. You have the Abomination at the end of Evil Dead 2013. Now you get the Marauder, a big hodgepodge of lots of physical bodies all blended into one horrible contorted mass, and it's called the Marauder. But that gets done in with a wood chipper, come on to that, a wood chipper and a chainsaw. Oh, and a shotgun as well. And but the chainsaw in this movie is the same yellow, the exact same yellow as the Oldsmobile Delta 88. Now you go like, oh no, it's just yellow. No, they have said they did it deliberately. It was an Easter egg to the Oldsmobile. So there you go. That is that. The wood chipper. Did you mention a wood chipper there? I did. A wood chipper, which is on Fonda's big machinery rig thing, which I never could work out exactly what kind of construction that was. Is it a truck? Is it a van? Is it a trailer? Is it everything rolled into one? I don't know. But anyway, it was enough to distract me from looking at Henrietta's Pizzas. I can tell you that. So, you've got this wood chipper, and there's lots of jeopardy with people good people going to be dragged into it, and then finally the marauder gets dragged into it, and then the chainsaw gets brought down on its bonds, and then its severed head gets booted into this wood chipper. The wood chipper was used to great effect in Fargo by Sam Raimi, where the killer disposes of a body in a wood chipper. Cue lots of blood fountain everywhere. So you get in this, the wood chipper. There you go. Oh yeah, Bruce Campbell. Bruce Campbell himself. Yeah, Bruce the Chin Campbell. Now, I knew they couldn't leave Bruce Campbell out of this, but I remember saying, you don't see him in the movie, and I looked. I'm sure. I haven't got this confirmed yet, but I'm sure Robert Tapper, who's the producer on all of the Evil Dead franchise, I'm sure he's in here somewhere. I'm sure I read that he's in here somewhere. But yes, I have to be. That has to be confirmed. Someone's got to tell me, yes, he is. He's there, because I haven't seen it anywhere else, and I can't remember where I read it, but I'm sure I read it somewhere. But Bruce Campbell is not physically in the movie at all. He's not. And I remember saying this, and I thought, well, okay, you hear the priest's voices on the phonograph records that Danny plays back, which obviously deliver the recitation of the incantation. And but you hear not just the priest that reads it out, but you hear there's another couple of priests' voices on it. And Bruce Campbell supplies one voice. You don't know, you shouldn't read from the Book of the Dead. He's that voice. Right. Now, I said that might be the case, but I thought, I didn't really recognize his voice. But he is one of these other discerning and sort of recanting priests. Don't do this. He is that one. But not only that, his vocal talents are employed elsewhere. Do you remember the scene where Ellie, possessed mother Ellie, leaps onto, is it Jake? No, it's Gabriel. Gabriel, who's the other. Is that a cameo? Is that some sort of Easter egg as well? Named Gabriel? Well, I can't remember now. Now you begin to suspect everything as being some kind of callback, cameo, Easter egg, reference. He gets his eyeball bitten out and chomped and then spat. By the way, people are saying, "Oh, there's an Easter egg." He spits the eyeball and someone else chokes on it. Well, that's not an Easter egg. That is just like, it's a reference to Evil Dead 2 with the eyeball flying across the room and going into the girl's mouth. Bobby Joe's mouth. Bobby Joe. That's just a callback. It's not an Easter egg. It's massively so overt. It couldn't be anything other. So, but the chomping sound effects, that is Bruce Campbell doing the sound effects. And what he's doing, he's eating an apple, and they've got all the microphones in, and he's eating it really quickly, and they've probably mixed it up, in the sound design. Made it all like nom 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 nom. That's Bruce Campbell doing that as well, which I like that. That's just a bit of fun. For people who are making these movies and you're in a franchise, but I'm not playing Ash anymore, I'm not going to do this, but I still love the whole thing, I just can't commit to it, whatever their reasons are, but I still love it enough to do the press junkets and all the fan stuff and the conventions. I still do all of that, but I'll have a little, I can't commit much time, so I'll just go in the recording booth and just eat an apple, and record a voice, which will take 5 minutes, if that. I can see that happening, and they're still part of it, and the fans will still love it and lap it up. So, you've got that. So Bruce is in there a couple of times. I think we've actually done all the ones I know. Well, there's lots of filmic references to other movies, but most notably, of course, is the elevator filling with blood. Which is obviously what? The Shining, of course it is. And you've got Beth and Cassie, our last two survivors. They've all the rest have contorted together and are coming down the blood-drenched corridor to get to the lift. The lift doors are like that, and they're trying to get this thing to get moving. It finally does get moving, but blood fills the thing up, and they are about to drown in gore. 1,717 gallons of fake blood was used in this movie, by, as Lee Cronin, the writer and director, has ascertained. And wow, you pretty much see all that in this sequence itself. And it fills up with blood, and it will crash down into the underground car park, and the doors will burst open, and a big wave of blood, a tsunami of gore, will issue forth, with our two final girls held out as well. And that is, of course, a massive... See, now, I keep saying about, there's callbacks, Easter eggs, cameos, references. This isn't really an Easter egg, to be honest, although people are jumping on it all the time that I've seen. And it is just, it's a direct reference to The Shining. But in this case, it's actually far gorier. And you've got people actually in it as well, tumbling through this blood wave. And it's very, very good. The one in The Shining is still just outstanding. It's a nightmarish, terrifying image. Sort of stomach churning as well, but it really, really works. And in this, it's more emotive, I suppose. It's less nightmarish because it's a physical thing, and you've got your characters in there, and you can imagine, choking on, that. Can you imagine? When you've got blood in your mouth, and you got that taste of iron. Oh God, and I couldn't be a vampire. It'd tear me bloody stomach, mate. I'd starve, But imagine gulping it down. Oh God! Oh, that's another thing as well. The throwing up of maggots. I've seen in some Easter egg listings that is there, where Bridget throws up maggots and a big steaming pile of insectoid, mucousy maggots, and that's a reference to the first Evil Dead, where at the end, where he manages to, with the necklace, get the book into the fire, the Necronomicon, and they all start dying and decomposing. Blood shoots out of everywhere. Fucking tremendous bravura set piece finale. And then all maggots and stuff and cockroaches come out of their remains and all that. Is it bollocks? Is it bollocks? To me, that's a reference to Lucio Fulci and things like City of the Living Dead and The Beyond, and just the grungy effect. He used maggots a lot, in his nastiest, gnarliest movies. Lucio Fulci used maggots a hell of a lot, and he put them on his actors' faces. He put them in their sightless orbs where the eyes have been removed. He put them in their mouths. He made them throw it all up. Oh, that's Lucio Fulci. That's what I think. So, cheers. Now, I think that's it. That's probably only scraping, the surface of the Easter eggage. But if there's more, but try and be savvy to what is a reference, what's a callback. Easter eggs are little subtle things hidden away, which they're not part of the story. They're not going to change the story. They're just little asides, little throwaways, and that's what I love about it. I love that this franchise has kept that sort of tradition going. Not everything does, but I think it's great. There will be more. I've seen a list of 26, but I discounted pretty much half of them because they weren't actual Easter eggs. But the things you didn't see, well, I didn't fucking see the Henrietta thing, did I? I did not see that. That's literally a case of not seeing the wood for the trees because I was focusing on Fonda's. I knew it meant something, I just didn't know what. And now, when I got told, I've been kicking shite out of myself ever since. Because what a doofus, Likewise, quotes. Swallow your soul, dead by dawn, come get some. No, they're not Easter. That's not an Easter egg. It's just, oh yeah. Yeah, we know those lines. They're callbacks. That's what they are. They're joyful, joie de vivre, gore de vivre throwbacks and callbacks to the characters and the situations that we've known and loved since 1981. Jesus Christ. And it took them 3 years to make Evil Dead. And they were high a lot of the time. As Bruce Campbell himself said, it was recommended that we knew that Jack Nicholson for an Easy Rider, smoked a few joints beforehand and got himself to a point where his acting was brilliant, and of course he went on to great things. So, well, we've learned that, well, let's smoke marijuana then. And the Tennessee marijuana is very potent stuff. Not that I know, but I've heard tell. And so they were steaming their tits off during that. But anyway, Evil Dead 1 is still an absolute bona fide classic. Evil Dead 2 elevates everything to a whole nother level. Army of Darkness drops it again and becomes a Harryhausen family-esque medieval caper. I love it. I think I'm doing that film a disservice, but every time I talk about the Evil Dead movies, I go like, 1's the greatest, but no, 2's actually good, much more fun, and does everything right, and like, I love Evil Dead 2 more, and I've covered Evil Dead 2 a lot more than anything else, and I always kind of like it on an Army of Darkness. Like, I don't care about it. It's just that there is a huge change in tone. It's immense fun, and you've got, as I say, 4 different versions of that to watch. And okay, some of the bits they put back in are really such shoddy quality that it does kind of take you out of it a little bit when you're watching it. You're trying to watch like a blistering high def image, and it suddenly goes down to really subpar VHS quality shit. But the little Ashes running around and tormenting him, the whole Three Stooges aspect, and the 3 books, and that's an Easter egg there. The whole Klaatu Barada Nikto, which of course is from The Day the Air Stood Still, which is the mantra to stop Gort from doing stuff, and destroying everything on planet Air by Klaatu Barada Nikto. But Ash being the prized dunce that he is, the asshat that he is, he can't remember. He's only going to remember like Klaatu Barada Nikto, 3 fucking words, and he can't get that right. Klaatu Barada Nikto. He goes noodles, which is just genius. And the books, two of them are fakes, and they fuck him up, and his face gets stretched. Oh god, no! I do love it. I do love it. But it, as a horror film, well, it ain't a horror film. It is a fantasy. I love fantasy, but Evil Dead as a fantasy, well, they did it, but I wouldn't want them to go back to that. So you've got everyone going about like, well, the people that don't like this movie, well, there's no Ash, there's no humour. If you have Ash in it, it's going to be humorous. I can't rule out them going back to humour again. But you've got to remember that Bruce Campbell has done 3 movies and 3 seasons of Ash vs Evil Dead. I'm not going to rule out that he won't come back again for some future movie. But if you bring him into it in a major role as a central character, then you have to change the tone. Bruce Campbell, and I'm sorry Bruce, you're never going to be a serious actor. Never. You're a great actor, but you're not serious. You make goofball, anarchic, bumbling idiocy an art form. I don't believe this. This is now about the 4th or 5th video I've done where something I've set up has fallen when it's anchored in. There's something going on. This place is haunted, and I've discussed it many, many times. But it's never done anything so much really on the videos. It is now. It's seemingly doing it in a lot of videos. That was a little winged demon threatening Ash over there by a possessed tree. And he's just took a dive off the top. He was anchored onto that. I could have shook that tree and the thing wouldn't have moved. So how's he fallen off it? Ah, dear God. Oh, see, are you thinking I'm dissing Army of Darkness? Because you're wrong. I love it. I love it, okay? Okay? If everything starts turning around and laughing at me now, actually I would love it. I'd find that very amusing. Anyway, folks, prattling on endlessly. They're my list of Easter eggs and a liberal sort of discourse on what makes an Easter egg, and what makes a reference, a callback, and a cameo. And you can have them all. This film has them all, you know. So I love Evil Dead Rise. I think it's a great, tremendous cinematic experience. The Dolby Atmos will fucking blow you away. It's got to be one of the loudest films I've heard for such consistent periods of time. You've got your Fast and Furious, which just hell bombast at you, and they're great. Don't get me wrong, metal crunching and gunshots and, you know, just raucous fucking vehicular violence. But this film, because it's the heightened sort of droning, drilling sense, and it really is fucking loud, and the overheads, wow, and the bass, like King Kong is like fucking not beating his own, he's beating your fucking chest, punching it, bang, 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 fucking ribs are going. That's going to be a great showcase when it comes out on UHD. Ooh, I'll be having that, baby. I'll be having that. Because I've got tons of speakers in there as well. Oh yes. So that's going to blow the battlements off Kilt Mansion. And not for the first time. So, folks, as I continually rocket my way through this, even at this early time of 10 o'clock in the morning, some would say alcoholism. I just call it breakfast, you know? But yeah, I recommend Evil Dead Rise massively. And you're hearing the soundtrack now. And I mentioned an Aliens sort of, I don't know, if you can't call that an Easter egg or a callback, or maybe you can, I don't know. If composer Stephen McKeon says I was deliberately aping elements of James Horner's score for Aliens, because there's a lot of it in here. Now, I don't find that a bad thing. I find it a really good thing. I was actually pleasantly surprised to hear those suspenseful qualities to his scoring, which evoked the anvils of James Horner and the slow burn build up to, you know, sub-level 3, and the whole, you know, waiting an attack by xenomorphs. You've got lots of that element in here, and there's 2 long tracks in here. I like long, in fact there's 3. Let's get this right. You've got a track called Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Die, which is what the mother does, like, to the kids, which is, 8 minutes 16 seconds. You've got the longest one, Say Cheese. I wonder what that's referencing. The big set piece with cheese grater down the leg. And that runs for 9 minutes and 20 seconds. And you have, oh Christ, there's 2 more. Dead by Dawn, which is the whole elevator in the corridor and the body contorting thing, which is 9:26. And the final confrontation down in the car park with the Marauder is 7:38. I will say again that I think the Marauder is a letdown, because I said it in the big video and I'll say it again now. When you've got Deadites, possessees who've become Deadites, they are enormously acrobatic. They defy the laws of physics. They can float, and their bodies can contort, and they can run around the ceilings, and they're hyper fast. They can fly through the air. They can do all sorts. But then the big beast at the end is a conglomeration of all these possessees, the Deadites, all conjoined. So there's arms and legs, and the main witch bitch's face in charge, leading this monstrosity. But it's an ungainly, slow, clumsy, fucking bumbling mess of limbs. It's lost all of its agility. You know, I know it's frightening to look at, but it's not. You can run away from that. You know what I mean? But that's the formulaic nature of movies like 2013 had to have the Abomination coming through, and the Abomination was not what you thought it was going to be. It was just a human female drenched in blood attacking another human female drenched in blood. It wasn't particularly, you know, oh well, that's a pure monster. It wasn't like Rotten Apple Face at the end of Evil Dead 2, which comes through like that, with all the faces of the souls it's swallowed, you know. Dead by Dawn, you know. and all this kind of shit. Like, it wasn't like that, which is genuinely impressive. And this is it's the Thing prequel. And and the end result of that was immensely lackluster. However, Lee Cronin does direct that sequence with verve, and it is exciting. It is suspenseful, and it has all the little build-ups and payoffs, and then escalates even more, and then the big payoff, and it does work. So it's just the big boss fight. Anyway, folks, I have been on with Shabby Kilt-Man. Please, in the meantime, in this ever gore-soaked blood-wave tsunami of Easter eggs, cameos, callbacks, references, harkbacks, and all sorts in between time, please keep it Kiltic, keep it Celtic, and I am going to see you all later. Oh, you're still here. If you haven't seen it yet, go see it. Because I've given far too much away. There's no point going now, is there? I've given you the full kilted version. Folks, take it easy and just be yourselves. Don't be a Deadite.